7:33 Central African Time. Hello, Dumoulin Guyonat Sani Bonani. Welcome to the second tier of Breakaway League Racing. Welcome to Saudi Arabia. This is the Jeddah Corniche circuit. And as you can see, 11 of our Tier 2 representatives are here to duke it out, to fight it out, to battle it out as we wrap up their season. The championship leader, the person who's firmly in control of the standings here in the second tier of Breakaway League Racing, that person, being Smirts Django, is here to stake his claim even further into cementing his iron grip on this particular championship. He leads the standings by some way. The form driver, the gold standard of Tier 2, he leads 276 championship points for Django. From Tabo T92, I do see that the top three are represented here. Tabo T92 currently second in the standings. The King Rapture currently third. And Don Laka is also represented here, currently P4 in the driver's standings. Now, Don Laka will hope to make it an automatic qualification through to the top tier, but he will have to catch up to the King Rapture somehow before this season is complete. King Rapture has 169 points. Donathan Laka, 149 points. So, a little bit of a gap there for Don to make up, but if he can somehow string together a decent string of results, who knows what could happen. We'll have a short quali of about 18 minutes before we have 25 laps of proper racing here in Jeddah. And, further along the championship, behind Don Laka in P5 is Mex. There he is in the McLaren. He currently has 141 points, and then Tindo currently is behind Max with about 105 points, according to these standings here. So let's see how all of these drivers will fare. And behind Tindo in P7 is none other than Sanale Mazansi. That doesn't look like he's represented here today. And we then have the 86er P8, Sun Hashira P9, the Nucho P10, Selby Sango P11. Esclexa, that being Esclelo, is currently P12. Fence is 13th. Spizoso 14th. Man Ray currently P15. Kid K is in 16th place in the driver's standings. Twitch is currently 17th. His Royal Highness King Straw, just 4 championship points, P18. Tegway, P19. And Banga is currently in P20. Joining me in the commentary box is none other than Malusi the Malusi. Greetings, good sir. We have a tasty race in prospect. Of course, it's the race to secure the driver's standings in this tier and the race to get promoted into Tier 1. How are we feeling? Mic check, Malusi the Malusi.
Yeah, it's a missed call. Yeah, so if I found a missed call, so I'm thinking tomorrow might be the day. So we have to make sure tonight we're rocking.
All right. Mello the Mello is probably on a phone call here. So we're hearing some personal details. Perhaps Malusi the Malusi will slip up and, even supply us with his bank card details. And we got all splurged in December. But I'm pretty sure Malusi the Malusi will be right back in the commentary box. But if you just joined us, thank you for doing so. We will have a tasty race in prospect. Malusi, are you with us? I think you were on the phone there for a second.
Mike, take 1, 2. How are you doing this evening, Tyson boy?
I am fantastic. How are you feeling? It's good to have you in the commentary box.
Ah, man, the pleasure's all mine, man. The pleasure's all mine. I'm gonna win with you tonight. Let's see, because I'm expecting a powerful race in Saudi Arabia, boy.
Absolutely. Tasty race in prospect. We cannot wait. And I was just taking the viewers through the current standings, just in terms of the table. But of course, it is a rush to also maintain your place in this tier. You've got the likes of Bonga, Tegway, and King Straw, the bottom three. But everybody from Fence to Kid K is at risk of dropping down into those automatic relegation spots, but they're currently in the playoff spots. So a lot to play for with 18 minutes of this qualifying session to go.
Oh, definitely, man. So many people have points to prove. Some people want to stay in Tier 2. Some people have ambitions to go to Tier 1. Who do we have on automatic relegation? Is it Smart Django?
Automatic promotion is Django, Tabo T92, and King Rapture. So the likes of Don Laka, Mex, and Tindo are fighting to get into those automatic spots, but they're eligible currently for the playoffs versus the Tier 1 drivers. Tasty, tasty, tasty. Whoever lands in the playoff spot for Tier 1, it's going to be so, so tough.
Definitely will, man. I'm thinking of the top 3 that's automatically promoted. King Rapture, Smith's Django. Come on, bro. What's Tier 1 going to look like next season?
The headaches that you guys have just keep on getting more and more intense because the drivers that just keep on coming up, they keep on pushing, raising the bar, and giving you guys a lot to think about. I mean, even the likes of Brown Boy as a debutant has looked so comfortable in the top tier, and who knows how these guys getting promoted are going to look next season as well. It's a tasty, tasty prospect.
That's what I mean, man. Like, we look at the likes of Brown Boy, who came into Tier 1 and made it stick. People like Lungs, who came to Tier 1 and made it stick. Your Tsepo Timbers, come on, bro. The list is endless. So
yeah.
That can only mean the standard is rising and rising and rising in Tier 1.
Absolutely, and with just over 17 minutes of this qualifying session to go, looks like Bonga, a man who's rock bottom of the standings, is desperate for points. He finds himself in negative points territory, does Bonga, so yeah, it's really a lot of pressure for him. If he can somehow find himself, I don't know, what will it take? You know, is it pretty much a lost cause for Bonga, do you think? He currently, of course, has minus 12 points. Is it pretty much a done deal, or can he somehow find himself battling with the likes of Twitch, who's bottom of those playoff spots on 17 points? He'll definitely need some amazing series of results for Bonga.
Yeah, definitely, man. It's a tall ask. I think for his fight back, it needs to start tonight. Should tonight be a hopeless adventure, he might as well count himself out, because that's a tall or a negative 12. That means even if he comes on P4, he'll still have no points in the bag.
Oh my word! When you put it in perspective like that, oh my word! Oh my word!
Bonga really needs to get a string of results. He needs to just string them together. So he needs to start tonight. I'm estimating, I think it's about 4 to 6 tracks that Tier 2 need to do to complete their season. I stand corrected. But he needs to start tonight. Should tonight not happen, I think that will be the final nail to his coffin, and off to DHL going into Tier 3.
Off to DHL, relegation down to the 3rd and bottom tier. And we know when Bonga puts it together and gets his head down, we've seen him do really, really good things, even in playoffs, under the pressure of playoffs. So it's just a matter of somehow, putting a consecutive string of performances together. But is it too little too late as Bonga makes his way now through Sector 1? There's a yellow flag perhaps behind him, but he won't worry too much about that. And let's see now. Goes a little bit wide coming out of that turn. Of course, it's such a tricky circuit. He's off. I wonder, has he abandoned? No, he's still on the throttle. Mabusi, it's a fast circuit, but the corners, they come at you before you've had time to blink after making your exit. What is it that makes this track particularly challenging for drivers?
You know, at first glance, you think this is an easy track, and it is not, believe you me. The corners come at you so quick, and it's a sequence of corners, right? What I mean by that is that if you have one bad corner, the next one is affected automatically. So you need to be smooth especially the first set, the first, second, third corner. You need to string them along. You need to take your time with them. So that's where most of the time is made, and hopefully by the time you get to sector 2 and 3, it's just a smooth set.
Oh man, and as you said that, he messed up the exit of one corner and had a little bit of a moment with the wall at the next. So Bonga having to ease off the throttle there. His sector 2 split was in the 1 minute 106.5, I think it was. Here he makes his way now, sector 3, the main straight. Bonga's going to cross the line. Got a lot of work to do, 136.4. Based on your knowledge of this track, what do you reckon will be a decent kind of benchmark to secure pole position today?
Bonga definitely needs to go around and improve his time, but looking at the likes of Rapture, Django, and Dawn, I'm estimating a 131.5 or a 130 flat. That should be enough to get you in the front. Oh, okay, never mind.
As you say that, the 86er crosses the line, 130.985. A beautiful first effort from the Ferrari driver who has his own ambitions. King Raptor goes even better, 130.425. So the times are starting to trickle in here. There's a Mercedes on the verge of coming across the line. It could be Tabo T92. Remember, he's challenging towards the top. He's got that DRS open. He's about to cross the line, 129.693. Malusi the Malusi, take us through that.
I'll take you through what? That is an amazing lap from Utabo. Definitely, he was paying attention in the meeting in the Mercedes garage when we were just going through the key points of this track. And Utabo T92 has set the bar, and I'm telling you, it is a high bar. A 129.6 is what Tabo T92 has done. What a beautiful lap. I definitely did not see that one coming. I did not see that one coming.
Absolutely beautiful, beautiful stuff. Let's catch up now with some of the drivers making their way towards the start-finish line. Twitch is on the tail of one of the McLarens. It could be His Royal Highness King Straw completing his outlap. Here comes Twitch. Ahead of him looks like it might be one of the Alpines, but Twitch is going to cross the line, 136.7. It's only good enough for P6 as Tindo on his second attempt also goes into the 130s. Tindo 130.537. So Tabo T92 the benchmark with that 1 minute 29. King Raptor currently P2 from Tindo, and the 86er in P3 and 4 respectively. Next, a 131.2 puts him P5. Bonga has some work to do. He's still out there. Has a huge spin, does Bonga. Faces the wall and now has to engage the reverse gear and, find his bearings once again. So Bonga under pressure and underperforming as things stand. At that time, the 136s will definitely be knocked further and further down. Brendan N-Cube in the comments says, finally, Mex is back. Being cheered on is the McLaren driver. Whew, a lot to digest here. But of course, as the likes of Tabo, Raptor, and even Tindo make their marks felt, the likes of Selby Songo, former Tier 1 driver, has a lot of work to do to make sure that he puts himself in the reckoning here as we watch him make his way through the second sector, Mello.
I was watching Sanele's lap. He's about to cross the line. It looked like a tiny lap. Let us see. Sanele in the Red Bull crosses the line and does a 130.5. In P4. Look how small the margins are between the drivers. From 4th place up until 5th place, we are only separated by 4 tenths. 4 tenths of a second. Oh wow, it can't be tighter than this. It is be anything tighter.
Very, very, very tight indeed. We're talking fine margins within fractions of a second here. So it's really, really a lot. As you saw, Sanele Mazansi flying the flag for Red Bull, crossing the line with that 130.5. Selby, meanwhile, eventually came across with a 133.8, so he's a slap bang in the middle as we have a healthy field of 15 drivers as things stand. It could yet be more as we are just about to cross the 10-minute barrier before these drivers have the final countdown to lay down their marker as far as doing the best that they can. Meanwhile, His Royal Highness King Straw, currently struggling to maintain his place in this championship, is giving it another go, and at the Sector 1 split was going about 3 tenths quicker than his previous best time of a 134.8. So, can he keep it together? We're on board now with the McLaren driver. But Lil Rhino has a bit of a moment with the wall as we see a piece of carbon fiber. That front right wing end plate is gone, and he's still pushing is King Straw here. It's so tough, Milo. Like you mentioned, you mess up one corner, the next is coming at you in the blink of an eye, and King Straw having a coming together with the wall there.
Let us look at the other Red Bulls also about to cross the line. The Red Bull of Donton Lara crossing the line for his first time at 31.1. Not a bad lap from Don, but I'm sure he'll definitely want to attempt another.
He'll definitely give it another go. The real composer in the comments says,
la bantu bazokuTier1 njalo ekunzima la bantu abathaba T92 ebazosihlukumeza kuTier1 ekuyakhuphukela mina sekuyakhuphukela kuyakhuphukela.
I know it, definitely, man. Definitely the talent that's in Tier 2 now. That's what calling them Tier 2. It feels like I'm taking away from their skill because these guys are insanely fast. Who would have imagined Max in P7? A driver like Max P7. Come on. Come on. This guy's
It's really insane. The quality pretty much all throughout over here. You're seeing something on your end, Malo?
So we've got a few drivers, we've got 4 drivers currently a hot lap. So we ride along with Max, about to start his hot lap in the McLaren. So I'll take you through this lap with Max. Going down this final straight with close to 330 kph, 10, 1 and 2 coming thick and fast. He doesn't hit the apex, but manages to hit the apex in turn 2. Goes on the power very early, nicely done by Max, straight down into turn 3, which is almost a blind corner. Beautifully done by Max. Oh, cuts the corner beautifully. Half throttle, going to turn 5. Here's the most technical section, the left and the double right. Take the first right beautifully. Takes close to the wall. Oh, beautifully done by Max in sector 1. I think there's still more time, but I have no complaints about that. And it does a 33.3 sector 1. A bit of traffic going into the circular left-hander. Do they stay out of the way? No, they don't. Who is that now? Come on. There's an Alpine that obstructs a beautiful lap. Do you know who that was, Titan?
It might have been Bonga. It's definitely Bonga on an out lap, not making way. His teammates by Zozo still in the pits. Bonga completely messing up what was a beautiful lap up until that point.
Oh, bro, there was such a mistake from me, and I'm sure he will be fuming. He'll be fuming to have that lap not finished from his side. So, a lot of drivers with 7 minutes to go are giving it another try. We've got the Red Bull. That currently is P2 of Sunilem Zansi. Oh, but it looks like no. Nah, he's abandoned that lap. Behind him we have Django. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Django also got invalidated. What's going on? Are they tense? What's going on? Tingo Extra also is abandoned. What's going on? P6 Max will start again, but we'll have to give other drivers a chance. Ubonga, Stegza, and KK smash Django mediums.
He was on mediums in the pits. I don't know if he's gonna give it a proper push on those mediums. That would be very surprising considering the kind of benchmark that Tabo T92 has laid down. Currently the only man to breach that 130 barrier. 129.6 is the benchmark with 6.5 minutes of the session to go. Mex is giving it another go, taking another bite of the cherry. Last time out, Mex was sublime, superb through sector 1. It looks like that's the same case too through the very technical initial sequences of corners, but this time he's got about a tenth quicker. So, of course, those tires are a lap older. Mex would have been fuming, but he's managed to keep his head down and keep it together. Here he comes now through the second sector, also demanding a sequence of corners. You really have to get that right. He goes so close to the limit, but does not even touch the wall at all there as he opens up that rear wing to send that McLaren screaming down the second sector into the braking zone, left-hander into a quick right, and it's a beautiful, looks purple on the track map. I do wonder if he can keep it together and give Tempo T92 a headache of his own. Next, of course, a super talented, classy driver is on the verge of leapfrogging a fair few amount of drivers. Could even give the likes of the top runners a lot to think about. And he's now pointed that McLaren onto the main straight. He is hurtling towards the line, and he's 6/10 quicker than his previous best, but it's only good enough for P5. Mello, that is a decent lap by any stretch of the imagination, but the margins are so insanely fine here. He's only good enough for P5. 130.5 it's a decent effort.
That was a good effort. That was a great effort actually by Mix, but I'm having mixed emotions because that just leads you to appreciate Turbo T92's time even more. Come on, 29.6. That means he still has 4 tenths to the 30s and 2 more tenths to Sunilem Zansi. Come on, what a beautiful lap from Utabo. And he's going again. I would love to take some tips from this guy. So we'll take his lap in the middle. So he's going into turn 3 now, which is also a blind corner and does it beautifully. So we'll have to keep an eye to see if he improves his current time would be fantastic. Double right hand, does it take it beautifully? It does. He stays within the track limit. The car is taking every command beautifully. Let's see. How does it fare compared to... Oh my Jesus God! Take me now. 2 tenths up. It's Turbo T92 going through that sphere. The left hand up sphere. Beautiful from the Turbo T92. Look at the command he has on the car. Slide right. Positioning on the left to take off. Beautiful from the Turbo T92. Takes as much track as he can. Turbo T92. Last thing through the second. DRS zone. Music. Every track, every centimeter on the left. every centimeter on the right. Going to the second sector. 4/10 up. Jesus, what's going on? The W13 has come alive not only in Brazil, but has come alive in Saudi Arabia too in the night. Is this going to be the dark night from Utah T92? Currently half a second fast. Going into the final corner. Will he pull a first stop in? How far does he fare? Oh, takes the apex beautifully. This will be a 129.1. I'm estimating, but hey, he's broken so many records today. Let's see what time he posts.
Oh, it's a beautiful 129.276. Tambo T92, the gold standard. They cannot come close. He was absolutely sensational through those sectors, taking those corners inch perfectly. Blind corners, fast corners, bring it on. Tambo T92 had that car absolutely planted. And as Malusi the Malusi has said, the W13 well and truly breathing in the full breath of life, not only in real life, but out here in the desert, the white hot heat of Jeddah at night. Tambo T92 putting an absolute scorcher together and laying down the gauntlet. As things stand, he's almost a full second ahead of the P2 place Stanley Mazansi, who unfortunately is experiencing a glitch, according to his comments out here, but we do hope that he can get it sorted out before we get racing. 2 minutes of the session to go. The man to beat, the man on absolute fire is Tambo T92 out here in Jeddah. Man, oh man, oh man, what a beautiful sequence. What a beautiful lap he had. It looks like King Rapture might be on an in-lap yet, or is he giving it another go? Of course, he's one of the top runners currently pushing. Tindo, it seemed, might have been on an in-lap there, having rested his way up to P3 as things stand. King Rapture is currently the fourth quickest as we hop on board with the Aston Martin driver, giving it a final go. Max is currently P5 from the 86er. Don Laka currently 7th from Espexa, Spizozo 9th, and Bonga 10th. So fighting to be within the points when the race begins. Here comes King Rapture now through the second sector. Let's see what his split is going to be like. Spyzozo seemingly crashing out. Oh, King Rapture having an almighty spin. His car faces the wrong way. Perhaps just losing the rear there and facing completely the wrong way. And the fast-moving either, I think, Mex or His Royal Highness King Straw. Yeah, it's definitely Mex had to make sure he was out of the way there. So King Rapture on his final push, a brand new set of softs, is going to have to give it another go from scratch. Here comes Mex now to see whether or not he could challenge the likes of the top runners. P5 was the best that he could do at this point, 130.5. And Spyzozo is now out of the session. Django has not yet given it a go. He's still in the pits on those medium tires. I don't know if he's thinking about another last to first challenge in a league race. Well, isn't that a measure of his confidence up until this point? Hello. Mex is currently on a brand new set of soft tires, giving it another go. Hopefully it won't be blocked. Not such a clean exit out of that particular corner. Let's see now if he can keep it together. Here he comes now, sector 2, a left-hander, not too tight, but coming marginally close to the wall there as Django decides he's not going to come out with just seconds left of this qualifying session. A couple of drivers still out on their final attempt. I think Escalo is on the verge of crossing the line. According to my track map, Tindo's still out on track, as is Rapture. And it looks like Twitch and Selby Sango are still giving it another go. Mex is definitely not going to improve here. He's going about 8/100ths of a second slower than his previous best time as he went through that sector 2 split. He's still pushing behind what looks like an Aston Martin, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, it might be an Aston Martin. It might just be King. Could it be King Rapture or could it be Selby? No, it could just be Selby. So let's see what that attempt from Selby is going to look like as the Mex abandons. Here comes Selby. He was 11th. He's still 11th. 133.894 for the Aston Martin driver. Looks like everybody is back in the pits, and it doesn't look like... No, it definitely does not look like Rapture is still pushing. His battery power is pretty much all the way diminished here. So as things stand, it's Tambo T92. Nobody had an answer for him. Provisional poll, definitely pole position. It doesn't look like anyone will have an answer to Tambo T92's efforts. Tindo, currently P2 as he brings that Williams home. San Limzanti will start in P3. King Rapture, P4. Mex P5. The 86er will start in 6th place. Don Lacka 7th. Scullo 8th. Spizozo 9th. Bonga 10th. Selby Songo P11 from Twitch in 12th. Kid K 13th. His Royal Highness King Straw P14. And Django starting from the back of the pack. And man, it's such a fast track, so demanding. That rush to turn 1. How treacherous is this turn 1 with some other infamous turn 1 tracks like Monza? Is it, can it be a bit of a scrap here, Mello?
100%, man. Going into turn 1, it's such a long straight. I think it's about 400 meters going down to turn 1, so the drivers get eager. And the fact that turn 2 hits you immediately, so drivers get scrambled up and you tend to see accidents. But hey, we're going to have to wait and see for yourself. Welcome to the new viewers who have joined us now. Qualifying is done and dusted. We've got Tabo T92 in pole position. He was absorbed everything he could from Mr. George Russell and Hamilton Lewis. Timbo is sitting in second place in the Williams. Salim Zanzi completes the top 3. King Rapture, Max, and 86 in the Ferrari are going up to P6 respectively. Don Tolaga finds himself in the Red Bull in P7. His teammate is in P3. Interesting to see how that will fare going through the race. Spizozo, Munga, Selby, Twitch, Kid K, King Straw, and I think the person at the back of the grid, it's Mats Django, who, as the whispers go, are saying he's going for driver of the day. So interesting to see what Mats Django can do. It's a track where overtaking can be done easily. So I think anything is possible. So focusing on Django alone, Tyson, what do you think is capable of achieving today?
Yeah, well, it depends as well, because sometimes when he has done a last place to podium place finish, it has been races have been impacted by safety cars, and this track being so treacherous, I would not be surprised if we see at the very least at least one safety car, and he could take advantage at the restart there. The tire choices are also going to be interesting to watch as well. I was just taking a look at the tire information at the end of quali, and a lot of the runners in the top 10, quite a few of them use 3 sets of soft compound tires here. So perhaps a lot of them not expecting to go onto the soft, but the safety car can impact tire choice as well, especially towards the end. So I do expect Django to be, among the top half of the top 10. P5 minimum is my expectation for Django to just take advantage of any mistakes at the back there. And, well, he's such a quality driver. Plus the fact he hasn't used any of his soft tires. If a late safety car is a factor later on, then he could slap on a fresh set of soft tires to fight the guys up in the front. So a lot of permutations for him. He's quite surprising that he didn't come out. I mean, he's P1 comfortably of the standings, 276 points from Tabo T9's to 192. So I suppose he's thinking he can afford to take those risks. Tabo T92 is fighting, and he wants nothing more, I'd imagine, than that race win. Of course, he had that dramatic incident with Tindo in Monza, did Tabo, and right now, leading from the front, he's just going to want to keep it clean, make no mistakes.
And then just looking at the grid, he's on the hard compound tire, is Mats Django, so he's definitely trying to go as long as possible into the race. So let's just review the tires and see what everyone has and see the permutations, the possibilities of what's going to happen today as I scroll through this right here. So the front row is on mediums, the second row is on hards, the third row is on mediums, and the fourth row is a combination, and the top 10 is on the final 9 and 10, which are the teammates of Spizozo and Ubonga. The Alpines are together. Hopefully we don't see a repeat of what we saw this weekend. Are on the mediums as well. Selby outside the top 10, sitting 11 is on mediums, Twitch, hards. Kid K, softs. Oh, I had to question that. I wonder why. And the king himself is on mediums, and as we said, Mats Django's on the hards.
Yep, so Kid K taking completely the left field strategy here, opting to start his race on those soft compound tires. I'll hazard a guess, perhaps Kid K is hoping, praying for an early safety car where he will then somehow take advantage of track position. But still, considering that it might yet be too early for the likes of the medium tire runners to come into the pits. Maybe that is the thinking at AlphaTauri. But yeah, Django starting on those hard tires. He's going to go long initially and look to take advantage of any mistakes that the likes of King Straw and Kid K and even Twitch could be making in those early laps. 25 laps of racing around Saudi Arabia. What a beautifully challenging technical track. And the real composer says King Straw hates the formation lap. He never does it.
He never does. Man. There's so much value. There is so much value in the formation lap. I really hope he changes his mind going forward and does that. So 25 laps. Any predictions, please, before we get racing going? People, don't be shy. Send us your predictions. I want winner predictions. I want podium predictions. And let's put a twist to it. First two DNF predictions. Want to hear real quick before the race gets going. Send us those quickly. Welcome to Breakaway. If you just joined, Hilly, go play the lotto because you just in time as we are completing the formation lap. Tabo T92 was a second pass from Utindo. I just can't get over that lap, Tyson. I just can't.
Beautiful, beautiful time. Is it well and truly comfortable among, the times that, as in like a leading tier 1 caliber time?
But that's the thing now. I think so. Comfortably, I think in tier 1 will definitely top 4, definitely. With the 29-2, definitely. So we have to wait until tomorrow and hear, or see, to see how it goes. Take us through the start, Tyson.
Here it goes. It's 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights. The only time South Africans look forward to the lights going out, and with green flags, we are racing in Jeddah as we look forward to getting a decent camera angle. Oh, there's some contact. There's an Alpine. Bonga is out. Bonga is out. Looks like the 86er Dunlaka and Selby Songo have been disqualified meanwhile. That is unfortunate for them. But here comes Stanley Mazanti. Tabo T92 is still in the lead. Tindo is slipping. He's lost 2 places as Tabo holds the advantage coming into turn 3. Tindo fights his way back just a single position, but it's Tabo T92 from Sanane from Tindo in P1, 2, and 3. Is that a full safety car? Yellow flags all over here. Unfortunately, it seems like we've lost Malusi. The Malusi, he might be having network issues. Meanwhile, Tindo is holding his own in sector 1. Yes, it is a full safety car. 4 out before the safe corner. The 86er Don and Salvi Sango getting DSQ'd, and Bonga having that huge moment crashing out in lap 1. We said earlier how much he needed a result here, how much he needed to somehow find himself in the points, but on negative 12 championship points, Bonga is quite likely on the brink. He's on the precipice, staring relegation in the face. A dramatic lap 1. We haven't even seen some proper racing. Tindo lost a place, and Sanale Mazanti was the one to take full advantage here. Max is currently P4, so he's been someone to gain out of that early melee. King Rapture has lost a place. Sky Zozo is up 3, so left some light at the end of the Alpine tunnel, at least. Twitch currently P7. And His Royal Highness King Straw taking full advantage of the drama. 6 places gained at the start of that dramatic lap 1. Kid K is up 4 on those soft compound tires. Escalo is currently 10th, and Smirts Django is up to P11. He was happy to bide his time and watch the carnage unfold with Django. And well, on those hard set of compound tires, he's already on the brink of being a points position. Man, oh man, oh man, we lost 4 drivers in absolutely dramatic fashion. Sadly, 3 of them via disqualification. Espexa is going to come into the pits very, very early here. And let's see whether or not, or rather, what kind of decision he can make. I'm not sure why the top 2 are looking to swap positions, Tabo T92 and Sanle Mazanti. Perhaps Sanle was avoiding contact there. But it looks like, was that a wing change? And a tire change, of course, for Espexa. Medium compound tires in lap 2 of 25. It's going to be a tall order for him to keep them alive all the way towards the end of this race here. But you never know. Maybe if he's just going to want to take advantage of track position, he could do that. Mex and Tindo have collided, resulting in the McLaren driver getting a 5-second time penalty. for coming together with Tindo under safety car. I wonder what happened there. Perhaps he went straight into the back of the Williams driver. Oh, well. Mex, definitely with, getting penalized in the early stages of this race. Tindo currently finding himself in the podium places. We know that Tindo is not a man who relents. He's not a man who will give up positions willingly, not without a fight. So at the restart, it's going to be a tasty prospect. Mex versus Tindo versus even the King Raptor. Man, oh man. Well, it's a decent day as far as finishing in the points is concerned. Well, hypothetically, for the likes of Mex and His Royal Highness King Straw. Let's catch up with the comment section. Brown Boy says, yo, 4 out before the first corner. Tindo breaking his wing at least twice. That's Caboza's prediction. The top 5 would be playing around if they let Django pass. That's so says Brown Boy. Let's see what Django's got, says Bungani, a.k.a. Debo Croc. Race control has given the thumbs up that the safety car is due to return into the pits at the end of this lap. So, lap 3 is indeed the lap where we will get back to racing. And already as the safety car makes its way around the final corner, there goes the safety car. Tabo T92 is backing them up. But when exactly will he apply pressure and apply all the power to the throttle? There he is. He is going. Sadly, Mazansi was not caught napping. It is a drag race down to turn 1. What can they do now? Will it be a straight-up scrap towards that turn 1? Tindo was caught off guard as far as the battle for the top 3 is concerned. He has fallen behind by a factor of about a second. Sadly, Mazansi giving nothing away. He was absolutely thinking about going for it out of the exit of turn 2. Into turn 3 they come. Tabo T92 keeping it clean, keeping it tight, keeping it together. Sadly, Mazansi 3/10 behind the Mercedes W13. It's Mercedes versus Red Bull, the absolutely iconic battle that we've seen in real life and that we're seeing getting a good taste of at the top tier Breakaway League Racing. Wide goes Tindo coming out of the exit of that corner, being hunted down by Mex. Tindo has managed to bridge the gap from about a second down to about 8/10 behind Sadler Mazansi, who is right on the gearbox and he's on the inside. And Sadler Mazansi to the lead of the race. And that 3 of 25 is a beautiful, clean overtake over here in Saudi Arabia. Taba T92 has to concede, and it's a beautiful overtake considering Sadler Mazansi is on a harder compound of tires, less grip. The hard tire takes a definite while longer to get into optimum working tire temperature and working conditions. So Sadler Mazansi looking absolutely beautiful. Sadler Mazansi has not come into the pits as yet, Surge Gamer, answering that in the commentary box. But what an interesting move. He is now in the lead of this race on lap 3 of 25, giving absolutely nothing away. And Tabo T92 has to contend with the specter of Tindo, who is hunting him down. It's a beautiful DRS train that we have here, all the way from P2 down to P5. From King Raptor to Tabo T92. It's a beautiful battle, and interestingly, we have Tabo T92 coming into the pits. It's an early pit stop for the Mercedes driver. Very interesting call, as Mex is currently the fastest man on track, chasing down Tindo. He's up to P3, courtesy of that early pit stop from Tabo T92, who has opted to come into the pits now for his set of medium compound tires. I do wonder, was it as simple as, it looked like a tire change. It doesn't look like he was in the pits long enough to change front wings at all. So Tabo T92 rolling the dice, gambling early. Is that a good call? Can he keep those tires alive with the late onslaught, presumably, when the rest of the leaders come into the pits? Well, that's going to be interesting. Tindo currently went purple through Sector 1 in his chase versus the now race leader. So Tindo was fighting to catch up to Tabo T92. Oh! Then Limazanti sent it straight into the wall in Sector 2, bringing out the yellow flags and bringing out the safety car again. Sadly, Mazanti, who was in a prime position leading this race, sent it straight into the wall. Oh my goodness. He is wingless, is Sadly Mazanti, having to slow down now, presumably, for the Delta, because we're now under safety car conditions. And, Sadly will come into the pits, thankful that he has not lost his car. And your race leader in lap 4 of 25, in absolutely dramatic circumstances, is none other than Tindo. Oh my word. Tindo leads this race after Sanley's dramatic crash, sending it into the wall there. Tindo from Mex from King Rapture. As things stand, we have the second safety car of the day after the drama of lap 1. And it's Tindo from Mex from King Rapture, your current top 3. Spy Zozo currently running P4. And man, oh man, oh man, Saddler Mazzanti will come into the pits. He was, I think, P6 when he came into the pits, but of course, he'll drop all the way to the back of the pack. There goes that fresh wing for the Red Bull and a new set of medium compound tires for driver number 13. He will be kicking himself. Kid K also relented and opted to come back into the pits. And funny enough, Tabo T92, his second pit stop of the day. Remember, Tabo pitted about a lap before the safety car came out. And, well, he consigned himself to the back of the pack. And right now, he's in the pits again. So Tabo possibly just didn't think that he could keep those medium tires alive long enough to be having a say in the race lead. He's, well, decided to come back. And it's a fresh set of hard compound tires for Tabo now. Very, very interesting as Debo Croc, a.k.a. Bungiani, answering Seekley. Yes, Django did start from the back, but as things stand, your championship leader is currently P7. And the ghost of Escalo currently chasing Django as things stand. An absolutely beautifully dramatic start to proceedings here. I do wonder what the likes of the 86er, Don, and Selby would or could have been doing were it not for that DSQ at the race start. We now have 11 drivers running. It could have been 10 if this man, Stanley Mizansi, had completely totaled that RB18. But by a stroke of luck, that crash was not terminal, and it only necessitated a front wing change. Lap 5 of 25.
Marasanel. Ebengimthembile pheka umuntu Sanel. Why abhizi athanda ibonda kangaka? Uzoyithola kanjani uhlele ebondeni Sanel man? Hey, focus man, Sanel.
Yeah, so he really does need to focus here and well, get his act back together. They will not be best pleased in the Red Bull garage. The likes of Christian Horner will be giving Sandler Mazzanti perhaps a stern talking to as Esquetza gets penalized 5 seconds for ignoring yellow flag. But it's the ghost of Esquetza, so that's quite a bizarre set of circumstances. We're under safety car, hoping that we get the word from race control that the safety car will come back in at the end of this lap. We want to go racing. We want the drama of overtakes and eventual undercuts and overcuts. Hopefully no more safety cars. Man, we've already had a couple. Tindo leads the race. What a beautiful day for Team Williams. Especially if Django can find himself challenging the top runners before proceedings are over here. Grinning from ear to ear is Tindo. And, of course, he would have been watching carefully, hoping not to get embroiled in that dramatic crash that took Stanley Mazzanti down to P9. But right now, he has a golden opportunity to stake his claim for what would be a beautiful, memorable race win. But only in lap 6 of 25, it's a long way to go yet. Max P2, the King Rapture 3rd, Spyzozo P4. Oh, what a day for him. He started some way away, did Spyzozo. It's a net gain of 5 places since the start of this race. Beautiful day for Spyzozo here. As we get a sense of some of those drivers who have stopped. Tabo T92, as we've mentioned, has made his second pit stop. While he can afford to gamble, can the driver currently second in the driver's standings. He decided, well, yeah, I'll come into the pits. I'll just gamble with a second pit stop here. So let's see what the rest of this race has in store for us. Drama. Mellow, the safety car is in this lap. Sandler Mazzanti had a golden opportunity for a memorable potential race win here, but squandered that chance. Dramatic crash, but thankfully for him, well, he's still in the running. well, as far as the race is concerned, he didn't total his car completely as the safety car makes its way around the final corner, Mello.
I do not know what's going on, but yay, we shall have the restart with Tindo in P1. I have no idea what that happened, but we shall commence the restart respectively there, Tyson.
Yeah, Tindo is backing them up, and perhaps you could take us through this. It could be a dramatic restart. He's on the throttle, Mello.
He's gone. Tindo is in P1 trying to fend off Max, but Max was not caught napping. Max going into turn 1. They're going to turn 1 side by side, but Max decides to fight another day. Looks like the field is spread out quite widely. We've got Spicer in P4, King Rapture in P3. Twitch has found himself in P5 ahead of his Highness King Straw in P6. Smash Jungle looks like it's a firm and confident start from everyone's Trexa. Finds himself in P8. Sanalem Zanzi, Kip K. And Tamo is in the pit. Front wing change from the Mercedes.
Oh, it's his third pit stop. It's his third pit stop. Oh, man.
What is going on, man? What is going on?
Absolutely dramatic circumstances for the man who was looking so good in qualifying. But right now, it's a recovery drive and prospect. I know. Hypo Tabo says peace in the comment section. Mex was thinking about it. Mex is now down to P3 because the King Rapture got the overtake done. So Mex was hunting down Tindo, but he himself became the hunted and has now been consigned to a P3 spot because King Rapture wasted no time in getting that move done. And as these two fought, Tindo managed to build up an advantage of 1.2 seconds in lap 7 of 25. Tindo driving beautifully thus far, but he needs to keep it together here. It's a long way to go yet, and the King Rapture will not make life easy for him. So next, with that uncharacteristic mistake, ceding his P2 spot to the King Rapture. And as we hop on board with the McLaren driver, we'll get a sense of how aggressive he will be in his fight back to reclaim that P2 spot and be the principal driver to give Tindo a potential headache here. But now he's just going to have to bridge this gap, which is currently at about 6/10. Both the P1 and P3 running Tindo and Mex are in mediums. Rapture, who is the meat of the sandwich, so to speak, currently on those hard compound tires. And as it stands, it doesn't look like Rapture had trouble warming up those tires. Instead, it's Mex who is playing a catch-up now as he loses a little bit of ground to Rapture in those sequence of corners coming out of turn 1. So definitely hugely challenging set of corners over here as these two battle it out. It looks like Django is fighting his way up the grid. He just snatched that P5 spot from Twitch, who is fighting back on the inside line, but he does not have enough. It is Smirch Django now up to P5. Almost having a huge dramatic moment there, getting his line back after completing the overtake. And Tindo Twitch would take advantage of any mistakes there. But as I say that, the gap is already about a second so soon after Django completes the overtake, and Django is now hunting down Spy Zozo. That gap hovering at about a second mark, and right as I say that, Django is within DRS of Spy Zozo. He is wasting no time, as it looks like he had a little bit of a twitch there from our perspective on board with Django. So hopefully he's got a network issue. Into the final corner they come. Oh, Spy Zozo hits the wall, and Django can smell blood. Here he goes on the inside, and it's a clean overtake. Django now to P4 as the stewards enable DRS on this lap. Spy Zozo is going to have to come into the pits, and he does exactly that.
I'm so sorry to chop off you. Rapture had a moment in the exit of turn 2. Rapture had a moment in the exit and broke his front wing. I think his end plate. His whole front wing
the complete wing is gone. The wing is completely gone. He is absolutely struggling. He was hunting down the race leader, but right now he is being hunted by Mex, who can smell an overtaking opportunity. Mex would have seen the debris flying and decided, well, it's my turn to fly past you, reclaim my P2 spot. The King Rapture will quite likely have to come in and have his prospects for a potential race win compromised here, as he will quite likely slip and slide down the pecking order. And it's not good news because Django is inching closer and closer towards the King Rapture, who will quite likely fall out of DRS range. And yes, he's out. It looks like it's yellow flags all over VSC. I do not see the safety car coming out. Virtual safety car I do wonder perhaps it's a buildup of debris, or perhaps we've had another crash or incident elsewhere. I'm looking now. Of course,
we had the moment from King's throw. King's show spun going into the left-hander into sector 2 and lost his entire wing, so he's making his way back into the pits.
His Royal Highness King Straw P8, but will also have to follow King Rapture. So the two kings not having such a great time. Meanwhile, the top three taking advantage. Oh, Mex gets a time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. The top three, meanwhile, are going to take advantage of the VSC to come into the pits for those hard compound tires and promoting Smirks Django, who was at the back of the pack to the race lead in lap 10 of 25. Everybody from Tindo all the way down to His Royal Highness came into the pits either to take advantage of the VSC or, in the case of King Straw and King Rapture, to get those front wings changed up. King Rapture comes out of the pits P5, and King Straw will quite likely slip further and further down, of course, as the McLaren team changes that front wing. Escleta, the ghost of Escleta, no, he's back. He's reestablished connection. He's up to P3. Well. But of course, sadly for him, he's got 8 seconds worth of time penalties. So that is really not good news for him. Tindo now down to P4, but remember, he has stopped. Let's take a look at that data. Only the top 2 drivers, that being Django and Twitch, have yet to make their initial stops. So the net lead, considering those pit stops, those impending pit stops, is Escleta with that time penalty, and Tindo currently running 5 seconds behind the Haas driver. So it's a decent day for Tindo. He needs now to make sure that he does not violate those track limit incursions, because it could very well, of course, impact the complexion of his race result out here. It would be a beautiful race win for Tindo. Remember, he's also fighting to find himself in those automatic promotion spots. But Tindo has definitely got work to do. He's got 105 championship points, does Tindo. And the P3 running King Rapture in the automatic spots has 169 points. So if Tindo can get a race win with a fastest lap, it'll go some way to bridging that gap. But King Rapture is right behind him. So long way to go for Tindo, Mello.
Definitely, man. But if there's one person who can win a race, it is Tindo. The momentum.
Mello, we seem to have lost you. Yes, I think you're back now.
Yes, apologies for the technical issues my side. So as I was saying, Tindo is the momentum man with him. So he's lined up a couple of results. He's got a couple of race wins with him. So he just needs to keep this clean. Firstly, no penalties, Tindo. He just needs to keep this race as clean as possible. Secondly, let him just manage the tires now, because he needs to take into account that Django will pit and come out with fresh mediums or softs at the end. So he needs to preserve as much tire as he can to fight his teammates at the end. Otherwise, Tindo can bring this home.
Golden opportunity for Tindo. Beautiful day if you're a Williams fan. Beautiful day for the British team. There's a yellow flag down, looks to be involving one of the McLarens. It might be His Royal Highness King Straw, but it turned into a green flag now. I'm not sure if he might have had a moment having a spun there, but as we caught up with him on the camera angles, it looks like he's well and truly running there. Meanwhile, the man who looks so sensational in quali is 5.6 seconds behind the rest of the pack. Tabo T92. We know what kind of a talent he is. We know what kind of pace he has, but today has just been littered with incidents and mistakes. So sadly for him, at the back of the pack, not even within the points in lap 12 of 25. We're at the halfway mark of this race, as Mex is the quickest driver on track. 133.506 is the fastest lap, as you've just seen flash across your screen. He's another man who has come to rue some of those mistakes, speeding in the pit lane, and he had a time penalty before that as well, which did cost him when he came into the pits. Yeah, not a good day for the McLaren driver. He will hope for another safety car. As the King Rapture, multiple warnings, the track limits 3 seconds. That's another piece of good news for Tindo.
Definitely, it's all falling together for Tindo as long as he is the one who keeps it together. So I think now the fight is shifting. I think now his fight is with Django solely, if he keeps it clean. So the Williams boys are definitely sending a message to the rest of the grid. And wouldn't that be something? Drivers from the same team to get automatically promoted. Wow, that would
be absolutely beautiful. I'm not sure if it's happened in the history of Breakaway, but it would be a beautiful example of some sensational pace coming into and coming back to the top tier in the case of Tindo, and indeed a debut tier 1 appearance for Django. Tindo is on the inside of the Haas, and Tindo is ahead of the Haas coming into turn 1. Who will blink first? Who will brake last? Tindo positions his car to be able to take full advantage, and now Tindo is on Twitch's tail. Tindo goes way wide on that exit of that corner, and giving Twitch a breathing lifeline, if you will. And into turn 3 comes Tindo. So now those are the kinds of things that Tindo just needs to just iron out. Those kinds of mistakes, and just to keep it clean, keep it without incident, as we see a yellow flag in Sector 3. It might be His Royal Highness King Straw here, but now it looks like he's back and truly running. So King Straw all the way down in P11, being overtaken by Tabo T92. Remember, at some point, King Straw was more than 5 seconds ahead of Tabo, but right now that gap is about 4.8, with King Straw being at the disadvantage. Let's hop on board with the Williams driver, Twitch, relenting there, and Tindo having to get completely out of harm's way. They're almost side by side. It's a beautiful wheel-to-wheel racing. Remember, there are braking zones here, even if some of these corners look oh so fast. Oh, and Tindo goes wide, but manages to get that overtake done, and Tindo will be hoping, praying that those track limit warnings do not rack up, because once you're up to 2 track limit warnings and you're basically on the verge of a penalty, how hectic is it? As we look at Twitch, who thought about going on the inside but does not quite get it done. How much pressure does that amount to when you're on 2 track limit warnings, Mello, as Tindo's teammate is now in the pits for that tire change for his set of mediums?
Now this is the start of a race with just over 10 laps to go, and once you get your second warning, that's what your mental game is tested, because it's either you conserve your driving, which ultimately leads to you being slower, or you keep on sending it. So I think that's where the boys from men are separated. That's how you then channel yourself going forward. To Tindo now, all he has to do is open a comfortable gap. What tires has Smash Django going for? Mediums.
Django went for a set of medium compound tires, and as things stand, in lap 14 of 25, Smirt's Django is 8.8 seconds, and it looks like it's counting down, 8 seconds behind race leader Tindo. Lap 14 of 25, it's a long way to go yet. 4-lap-old hard compound tires that Tindo is running. So, yeah, that is definitely a tasty prospective battle in prospect that we have here. Twitch lost all that momentum in his fight against Tindo, and as he did, King Raptor managed to overtake Twitch. So King Raptor is now the person hunting down the race leader. Once again, 2.9 seconds behind Tindo on a set of medium compound tires. Now, it's 4 laps into Raptor's medium tire stint. It's lap 14 of 25. Of course, Django has the fresh set of mediums. When, if at all, do you expect these mediums to start complaining? The mediums that Raptor is running?
They won't. They are going to the end of this story comfortably. So Smash Django will be licking the stamp and sending it all the way to the end. So I think Tindo's hopes of winning this race lie on King Rapture and how long King Rapture can hold Smash Django. So let me give you some insight, right? So if I was in Tindo's car seat, I would just manage to pace the way it is. Let Smash Django push against Rapture. And then the moment I see Smash Django at the back of Rapture, that's when I fully send this Tindo, because that's the time Django will be held up behind Rapture. So I want to know from the other drivers as well how they would approach this, because the gap is coming down. It was 8 seconds at the previous lap. It is now 6.5 between Smash Django and Tindo. So let us see, this is turning up into a feisty race indeed.
10 laps of racing to go. Safety car is out. I do
No
wonder
way.
what might have happened. It
way.
might have had a driver perhaps losing their wing, sending it perhaps into the wall. It looks like, yep, Spy Zozo has lost a wall, and the safety car is out, and it's disadvantaged Tindo as far as the battle for the race win, because they're going to bunch up again here. So this is terrible news for Tindo, who was hoping for that gap, and like you were saying, for the battle between Jango and Rapture, to give him a fighting chance here. They're going to bunch up behind the safety car, as Teppo in the comment section says Jango might take it as a result. Brown Boy says that is going to make things so interesting. Rapture into the pits.
Brand new mediums from Rapture. Okay, interesting.
Hey,
Do you
kabuhlungu
think Tino should have done the same?
He could have been in an advantageous position. Now remember, he's going to have to warm up those hard tires after the safety car comes in. Everybody else behind Rapture, that being Mex, Twitch, even Sanley Mazansi, opting to come into the pits. What's Sanley going to do? It looks like hard tires. That's interesting. Perhaps he'd run out of... and they're full lap old hard tires. And a wing change. That's why Sanley was in the pits. Yeah, so Sanley and Spyzozo losing wings. Perhaps they had contact off camera. And Spyzozo, soft tires. Well, that's interesting. Of course, we'll have a couple of laps under safety car. So those soft tires... Interesting choice, but what's the tire deg in your experience for soft tires around here, Mello?
I'm not really sure. Softs on this new generation of cars are not the good tire. They usually, especially in the race mode, they last from 3 to 6 laps, and that's a very short lifespan. However, we are gonna have 2 laps minimum under the safety car. That would bring us to lap 19.
Yeah.
Not a bad call from Spizo. I think we're gonna use him as a study and see how this race pans out for him. He currently 68 and with brand new softs. And this brings Utabo back. So let us see what Tabo can do. He did not pit. Yes, he did not. Oh no, he pit and took a used set of mediums, but practically new because they're only 3 laps old. The Kingstroke has taken a set of softs as well. But now, let's talk about Tindo and Django.
Hey, mara inhlungu la King Rapture vele wathi ayazi inthingene kuma-pits wathi nina ma-Williams nizola lapho kuzoba iguluva for himself uJango angeke ukuthi bathi hayi uzothatha race ufuna ukuwina nawe uJango.
Yes, perhaps Django will go for it. It could be Gulliver for himself. Or will Django be feeling in a benevolent mood to give his teammate what would be a memorable race win here? I do wonder how they're going to play it. I mean, we saw yesterday, eventually a Mercedes 1-2. It could have been different, of course, if Max and Lewis didn't have that coming together. But I do wonder here if Django's gonna... I don't know, play the team game and just be content with a 1-2 while fighting to keep Rapture behind, or if Django's just going to go for it. Of course, it would be a beautiful last to first victory here. C-Clay reckons, well, Django's going to win. It's pretty clear cut. Do you guys agree? Let us know in the comment section. What do you do in Django's position? Do you go for it, or do you fight on behalf of your teammates and keeping everybody else at bay? Man, oh man, oh man. Brown Boy says, tire deck is not bad around here. And Zotal and Seppo, I think, might just be agreeing with the call by some of these drivers to go onto the soft tires. Brown Boy says, Tindo needs the points, though. So, isn't that interesting? Tindo's the one who needs the points to either consolidate his place as a guaranteed racer in the playoffs, or to inch closer and closer to that threshold currently held by King Rapture in the automatic promotion places. Well, what do you do as Team Williams? That race restart is going to be so interesting. We will pretty much know coming into turn 1 what the thinking is there from the 2 drivers. Tindo has to somehow get some temperature into those hards as compared to the 3 drivers behind him running mediums. And that may yet be a factor here. We've seen a couple of drivers, for example, Stanley Mazansi I think Stanley Mazansi at the start of this race was running hard, and some of the leaders were on mediums, and he managed to take advantage there. So it's not impossible that Tindo manages to hang on here. But C-Clay says, Django needs to hold. Django before the end of the safety car. Tindo needs the points. Perhaps C-Clay means Django needs to hold the Rapture. Well, it's going to be very, very interesting as we get this beautiful shot of the scenery out here at the Jeddah Corniche circuit. Both these drivers all these drivers weaving left and right, trying to get that tire temperature in. I do wonder what kind of a race we could have had. I was saying earlier, Mello, if of course the Tabo had managed to keep it together, and if the likes of 86er, Don, and them did not get those DSQs, it could have been such a tasty, tasty fight between so many drivers here. But we still have a beautiful potential fight on our hands between some of the top runners here. A lot at stake. Mex has finally got rid of all those time penalties thanks to the to his pit stops and these safety cars. So, considering that the Rapture has that time penalty, Mex is well in a good spot to be within the podium places here. And he could also get it done on track. So even though Rapture is on those mediums, it's not exactly, it's not a done deal that Rapture will be in the in those top places, because the likes of Mex will make life difficult for him as well.
Yeah, so I think the points we need to keep an eye on, definitely, I think Django needs to let Tindo take this for the sake of points. But we did not see that happen with the Ferrari yesterday. We did not see that happen with the Red Bull. So we never know what's going to happen today. We need to keep an eye on Spizozo with those softs. And with Spizozo's style of driving, he will not be waiting any second longer than he should to overtake. So he needs to see what Spizo can do from P8 with brand new mediums, as well as Kingstrow at the back of the grid. So as we said, 3 laps under safety car. We're going to resume racing on lap 19, leaving the softs to do heavy racing for only 6 laps. I think the softs were a good call.
Very, very good call, considering how much time we've had under safety car. They're going to be fresh as a daisy. Zotal says, I trust Tindo. Teppo says, Tindo needs to defend Django if he wants the points. So will it be a team game, or will they just be free to let loose and race it out? We will get the answer pretty soon, because Race Control has given the all clear that the safety car is coming back into the pit lane at the end of lap 18. So we will have a beautiful 6 laps of proper racing here in Jeddah, as we see Tindo backing them up once again. He's backing them all the way up here before the final corner. I do wonder when he will call it. Django will not be caught napping here. Tindo is onto the throttle. We're racing lap 19, soon to be lap 19 of 25. Tindo has a 5/10th advantage over his teammate. King Rapture is even closer to the back of the other Williams. Here comes Mex, about 7/10 off there. Tindo manages to keep it clean, 2 turns, 1 and 2. He didn't go that wide this time. Django's network sees him porpoising, weaving, glitching to the left and to the right, but he is still running over here. 4/10 is the gap between these two. King Rapture is still keeping it together, but Max, look at the pressure that the McLaren is putting on the Aston Martin, giving nothing away. Sadly, Mazzanti crashes out in Sector 1. He is out. He becomes the 5th driver that we have lost in this race here today. Max Checo situation, I wonder. Well, the gap is a second. Looks like Django is holding off King Rapture.
Yes, looks like Django is playing the team game. Django is holding the team game, holding up the likes of Rapture and Max. At the back, who had Stegza and Sanel Mzansi come together. And we have lost Sanel Mzansi, but the story has just begun. The fight for P2 and potentially P1. Smash Django sits in P2. King Rapture less than 210. Max less than 259. This is far from over. Looks like he is playing the team game. Tindo needs to pull away from these two.
He definitely does. He definitely does. And as you were saying that, the gap, which was over a second, is now down to 8/10. So Tindo at the beginning of Sector 3 struggling to take advantage of that gap. Meanwhile, Mex is on Rapture's tail. He can smell the engine fumes coming out of the back of that Aston Martin. He can feel the specks of sweat coming out of King Rapture's helmet. And in the drag race down to turn 1, Django is he on the attack here? Because that gap is down to 2/10 in lap 20 of 25. It looks like Django might be going for it here. No longer is he defending. No longer is he the Minister of Defense.
He's pushing him along. He's pushing him along. Like, Tindo, let's go. Tindo has no pay. He has no reply. Tindo, and the thing is, the more they do like this, they're gonna lose the win totally. So Tindo needs to dig deep. People are trusting him in the comments. Looks like the trust is falling on deaf tires. He needs to make a plan.
They made contact! They made contact! It's contact in lap 25, and Django has deceived that position. He had to ghost after making contact with his teammate. Django had enough, seemingly. He was just like,
oh, when I tell you, if I can push me, I'm so push again. Gulliver for himself.
He said Gulliver for himself, did Django. They made contact, and now he's down to P2 with King Rapture breathing down his neck, and Mex is absolutely going to the max as far as trying to take advantage of this carnage here. It could have been a glitch at Bromboy, but it looks like they definitely had a bit of a coming together there, and Tindo, by the skin of his teeth, is hanging on for dear life in the race lead. Malusi the Malusi.
He's not fast enough. He's not fast enough, he's Tindo. And I'm not sure whether it's tire 8 because those tires are only 10 laps old and 3 of them under safety car. So Tindo needs to dig deep. Oh no, I thought he's pitting. Tindo needs to dig deep. I think Django must go ahead and then pull Tindo along. I think that should be their next strategy now.
Yeah, that should definitely be the strategy. And Django's network, his car is doing strange things, as you can see. Seppo says it's a Vettel Stroll Brazil 2022 sprint. Django's car is doing strange things, but hopefully not strange enough to prevent Tindo from getting the tow. But as he does that, Tindo needs to dig deep, as you're saying, but digging deep has to also include keeping Rapture at bay, because Rapture is not going to be in a benevolent mood over here. Rapture can smell the opportunity to take advantage and somehow consign Mex to a position lower than himself. Django's gonna leave Tindo, says Bromboy. That gap is now 8 cents. So Tindo really losing any semblance of an advantage. Django tried, seemingly, to give Tindo a chance here, trying to push Tindo along, but Tindo could not take advantage, and with 4 laps to go, Django just says, well, look, man, we did our best, but right now, I'm just gonna have to keep on pulling and pulling, because like you said, Mello, what could have been a Williams 1-2 could end up with either one or both of them, if they weren't careful, getting knocked down off of those top 2 spots. So, 4 laps of racing, soon to be 3 laps of racing to go. How will this end? Of course, Rapture has that time penalty. Can Mex get this move done on track? Can Tindo hang on, or will even King Rapture get this move done? It's a beautiful DRS train that we have here as we hop into the perspective of the McLaren driver who has front row seat, and Rapture is giving it a go. He's on the outside line. He's ahead marginally. Will they make a little bit of contact? Yes, they do, and Tindo's hanging on. For dear life, Tindo will have the inside line into turn 3. They're side by side. It's wheel-to-wheel racing, but none of these drivers give it away, but Tindo has lost the advantage, and Rapture is now up to P2. Tindo absolutely losing all the momentum towards the end of this race. He led this race beautifully, taking advantage of all those incidents earlier on, but right now it's a fight to stay within the podium places, because if by some stretch of the imagination King Rapture can build up enough of an advantage, then even Mex will be at risk here, and Mex is not going to go down without a fight. So Tindo could find himself even out of P3 towards the end of proceedings here, Mello.
And King Rapture is about to pull a second from Tindo, and as I say that, he actually does. And that's bad for Tindo, because now he's vulnerable against Mex. Mex might make the move, so oh man, this just went from terrible to horrendous. So Tindo is out of DRS, currently is P3, 3 seconds penalty to Rapture. Oh man, Tindo needs to close this gap. And I say that he comes back 8 tenths, and he gets DRS crucially gets DRS. So Tindo lives to fight another day and hope that he gets within 3 seconds of King Rapture with 3 laps to go.
Being cheered on in the comment section is Tindo with 3 laps to go. King Rapture is flashing. Tindo is flashing, using all of their battery power to stay within touching distance. Here comes Mex. He is in the slipstream. He breaks it by going on the outside line. They're side by side into turn 1. Estexa crashes out of this race. Will they make contact? No, Mex concedes. But Tindo go a little bit wide coming out of turn 2. He's going to have to keep it together into the left-handing turn 3 here. His battery is flashing, and as he was fighting all these drivers, he is losing ground, losing momentum, as King Straw is now comfortably within the points at the back of the pack, running P9 on those brand new set of soft compound tires. It looks like King Straw pitted again. Fresh said he's about 37 seconds behind P8 running Kid K. Is King Straw at the back of the pack here. But of course, the big story of the day is the fight for the race win. And indeed, for the podium places, Mex versus Tindo and Rapture versus Smirch Django. Absolutely beautiful stuff here, as the Williams driver, that being Tindo, has lost all the momentum. And I do wonder, oh, King Rapture is crashed out! No, King Rapture is crashed! He's completely lost his wing, so Tindo is back in the reckoning here. But Mex will smell a potential opportunity here. I do wonder if Django will replay the team game, allowing Tindo to come back within the reckoning, but that will be too dangerous with so little racing to go. So little racing to go. It might be too little too late for Tindo. And I do wonder, Mello, with all that fighting, how many more track limit warnings Tindo might have gotten, and how conservative he has to be to make sure that he himself does not get the time penalty, Mello. Here comes Mex.
I trust Mex is coming for him. Mex is in the slipstream. Mex on the pulls to the right. Side by side, and Mex gets that move done on the straight. Tindo needs to fight back on this. He needs to fight back while keeping track limits. I think Tindo's just on the brink of getting a penalty, so he needs to stay clean and stay in this fight. So Tindo drops down to P3. Oh, from a potential race win. From all the trust that he was given from the fans, he comes in P3 and the win looks like it's swinging on Django's favor. So let us ride along. Tindo, he needs to stay with Mex, because you never know what the driver has in terms of track limits. Mex might get a penalty. Tindo might get a penalty. Even Django. So this race is far from over.
Far from over indeed. They just need to keep it together here. This is the penultimate lap. What an absolutely dramatic race we've had out here in Jeddah. Smirch Django, the man who started stone last, currently leads with just so little racing to go. His advantage is about 2.5 seconds from Mex, who can now potentially smell a very, very memorable race result for him. Mex will be praying for some sort of incident involving Django, and Tindo will equally be praying for one of the top 2 runners to get that time penalty, or indeed for an incident the likes of which took the King Rapture out of the reckoning here. Beautiful, beautiful racing from the top 3 drivers. Currently Rapture P4. Is he just pushing? Yeah, it looks like he's pushing without that wing. He's just feels comfortable enough to risk it. Tabo T92 started off in pole position after that sensational qualifying lap. P5 for him, not a bad recovery considering everything that's happened to his race and all the pit stops that he had to make involving his incidents. Spyzozo currently running 6th, from Twitch in 7th, Kid K in 8th, and His Royal Highness King Straw at the back of the pack with a fresh set of soft compound tires, making his way, trying to catch up. But Django has begun the final lap of this race in what has been a beautifully dramatic set of proceedings out here in Jeddah. Tindo hunting down Mex. He's still within DRS. Both these drivers are flashing. They've used up so much of their battery power. Tindo in Sector 1 is currently doing better by a factor of 6/10. He's going 6/10 quicker than his personal best is Tindo. But will that translate to a last lap overtake versus Mex? Here he comes now into the challenging. Oh, he goes off track! He goes off track to Tindo. You know, Tindo said, whatever it takes, whatever it takes. But of course, he was not close enough to get that move done. But invariably, he might not. Race control would have told him to give that position back if he got that overtake done. Tindo doing whatever it takes to get that move done in the last lap, Mello.
Looks like it's not over. Looks like it's not over. Going into the final corner, slipstream is not close enough. Tindo needs to get a good exit. Tindo needs to get a good exit if he wants to pass Mex on the line. But Mex gets a beautiful launch out of the corner. And your race winner is Smirch Django from the back of the grid. Max takes P2. What an epic fight from him to get it between the William boys. Tindo takes P3 after the win was on the table. And King Rapture. Oh, what a fight from him. Disappointed to have that incident after he was challenging for the win himself. Tabo T92 looks like he's one of the few who were fighting for the win. Started from pole, but manages P5 in the Mercedes. Oh, what a shame, man. Spizozo, we expected it to make some moves, but managed to stay P6 with the Alpine and bringing softs. Twitch, Kid K, and King Show finalize your race results tonight. What a race this was, boy.
Absolutely entertaining race as we watch His Royal Highness King Straw bring the McLaren home in P9. He had, quite an eventful race, having to come into the pits a couple of times, but it's a points finish for King Straw, and although P9, it's just a small little handful of points, he's going to hope that the rest of the season will see him finishing comfortably within the points. But King Straw has definitely got his work cut out. Before today, he had 4 points. By the end of proceedings, I think he'll walk away with about 6 championship points. And he's hunting down Twitch, who had 17 before the end of this race. But of course, Twitch finished ahead of him. So still a long way to go for King Straw, and he'll be hoping for a miracle. But what a beautifully entertaining race. Who is your driver of the day? The game, of course, gave it to Django. Of course, it's a last to first challenge. There he is, a man so used to the top step of the podium. He points his finger in the air and skips towards the top step of the podium right next to his teammate and Mex, who gave us such a beautifully entertaining race. Sadly, cost me this race, says Tabo T92, perhaps having that coming together and the initial stages of this race. But he may still manage to finish in the points at the Tabo T92. But of course, Tabo being the competitor he is, he wanted to finish, much, much higher over there. What an insanely entertaining Tier 2 race we've had as we wait for our podium finishers to join us over here and to give us a taste of what that was like. The quickest man on track was the King Rapture, as you can see, 1:33.106. Is, just a shade quicker than the time that the P1 running Smirch Jangle managed. Congratulations. He is the first to join us in the commentary box. You did it again. Last to first challenge, drama, safety cars, wings all over the track, but you clawed your way up. Take us through that, Smirch Jangle.
Mic check.
Loud and clear, sir. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you, man. How you guys doing? That was a great race.
It was a great watch, and seeing you fight your way into the reckoning. That was beautiful. Just take us through that and that beautiful battle with your teammate and the likes of Mex and Rapture towards the end.
So I think the safety car came in, the perfect time. I think it was the last safety car basically. Came in at the right timing. I had just put it, and they went for the mediums. Again, Rapture went for a new set of mediums, and Tinto continued because he didn't have to pit because he had hards. So my plan was actually to literally pass Tinto and then let them fight because I don't want to slow down anyone. Let them fight, and at the end, if Tinto's P2, I was gonna, we were gonna convert. But yeah, it was a nice challenge,
Listen to the confidence, the comfort level of Malusi. So that's interesting what you've just said, because watching when you were P2, I think after one of the last safety cars, we were wondering if you were just content to be the person fighting off the likes of a Rapture. So hearing that perspective is very, very interesting indeed. Mello, any questions for Django before we move on to Max?
Nah, just sublime driving, man. Sublime driving throughout the whole race, man. Beautiful racing, and keep it up. And personally, I'm not looking forward to racing you, so
I for one cannot wait. From the comfort of the commentary box, I cannot wait for Django versus Malusi, the Malusi versus Lungs versus everyone in Tier 1, in fact. But of course, the man who brought it home in P2, you had a dramatic race, of course. You had time penalties to contend with. You had safety cars, but Moteo Mekwa, a.k.a. Mex, brings it home in P2. How does that feel? Congratulations, sir.
Thank you very much. It feels great because I've been falling off the order in the championships due to, load shedding and all that. So it just feels great to come back to at least a P2. Uh, in the race, safety cars actually worked in my favor, like both of them, because I made a couple of mistakes resulting in penalties, but safety cars just came at the perfect time, and yeah.
Ah, man. And another case of beautiful driving for you, both in the quali and in the race itself. We saw, of course, you were on the verge of a beautiful, I think, a first lap. It could have been your second attempt. And then we saw, of course, there was a driver in your way during your quali lap, and it was looking like a beautiful one. But still, in the race itself, you managed to fight off those challenges. Take us through your battle with Rapture as well, because that was a lot. Before you were fighting for the race for the lead of the race, you had huge battles with Rapture and Tindo, I think.
Yeah, mostly Rapture. In this track, it's just so hard to keep it clean when you're under pressure, but that's what I was trying to do. I think he overtook me due to a mistake, but I tried to, just stick behind him and see if he made a mistake, and yeah, unfortunately he did, even though he was quite far in front of me.
And you were there to take advantage. Beautiful racing again. And yeah, you guys are just super, super, super sensational to watch your onboards. The precision of your driving, it is sensational. Another man who had all of our hearts in our mouths. We watched him leading this race. We watched him get sucked into battles. And of course, the safety car came at terrible times for him. Tindo, it's a podium finish. So decent day overall, but how are you feeling there? I know that race win was very, very close. Was within touching distance there, Tindo?
Yeah, we can hear you, bro.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mm.
We seem to have lost Tindo there, possibly network issues. But it was good, of course, to hear his perspective there. Mello, yeah, any final remarks or questions to our two drivers here?
Now, what a beautiful race, man! And shout out for the teamwork between the Williams boys. But it just wasn't meant to be. I think Tindo's pace just wasn't there in the final stint of the race, and Django needed to make the pass. Otherwise, none of them were gonna get the win. So beautiful driving, and congrats to you guys, man! As we approach the end of the season, it's beautiful to see such wheel-to-wheel racing going all the way to the end.
Absolutely beautiful stuff. Congratulations, Django, on the top step of the podium. Beautiful, beautiful challenge, fighting your way from the back of the pack. Tindo, good to see you on the podium, and Mateo Max, the one, the only McLaren driver. Absolutely beautiful driving from all you three. Yeah, that is absolutely, interesting to see. We will now have our tier three drivers fighting it out as they look to complete their season as well. So thank you so much, everybody, for joining us in the comment section. It's been beautiful to have you. Stay tuned to Breakaway League Racing because the tier three drivers are up next. Malusi the Malusi, you've been sensational in commentary. Thank you so much, sir.
Nah, thank you so much, man. Thank you for having me, man. Beautiful. So you get ready, go to the garage, prep your racing suit, and let's go on track, man. Thank you for joining us in Breakaway Racing. So see you tomorrow for Tier 1 and see you shortly for Tier 3 Racing. Good night, good night.
Thank you, everybody, and good night. We will see you for Tier 3 coming up next.